Thank you and welcome. Welcome to Appian Europe. This is exciting. It's great to see you all. My first slide is about you, which is fitting because without you, none of this is possible. So we're very grateful for your partnership and your success on our platform. This event has really taken off. We have more than twice as many attendees and registrants as we did last year. And the team here has put together a terrific show. Perhaps that's why you're here. Maybe it's just to see John Cleese. But a lot of good reasons to be here. Definitely a lot of good reasons. What I want to talk about is what boundaries we're pushing as a company. What are we offering for you at this point? I start with low code. You know, our industry's got a lot of names. Some call it BPM. Some call it case management. Some call it HPA pass. But my favorite name for what we do is low code. And the reason that's my favorite is because it's so simple. It's monosyllabic, right? It's so simple. And if you know, I always talk about this, I love simplicity. That's what I want out of Appian. It's my number one goal. If I had to boil Appian down to one word, it would be simplicity. It's the thing I most think that software needs. What we do is complicated. What you do is complicated. You're making unique software to run your organization. It's very, very complicated. What you need is to make it as simple as possible. And through making it simple, it'll be empowering. It'll allow you to define yourself, your organization, your brand value, your behavior patterns. These things are going to be enabled through simplicity. So I love the words low code because it implies simplicity, and that's my primary goal with all this software. So I want to talk a little bit about the ways in which we are achieving simplicity, the features that back up this claim to be simple. We're a lot faster than traditional methods of writing code and building applications. According to Forrester, leading analyst, we're 20 times, up to 20 times faster. This is not new news. This is from last year, but I just love to say it. I love to draw attention back to the fact that we can be that much faster. And I think this is the primary gift of empowerment that we want to offer, the ease of creation. This is it. This 20 times. There's no better slide. There's no better way I could express the core kind of effort here being made is that we would multiply the effectiveness of your developers. We'd make them 20 times as powerful, 20 times as productive. That's an extraordinary thing that we're trying to create, and that's what we want to offer to you. That's not the only thing, of course. We've changed our interface. We've changed the interface design substantially, and this is this year's stuff. We got a video here that shows you just how easy it is at this point to design a new interface in Appian. It's drag and drop, right? It used to be scripting, but now it's drag and drop. And not only is it drag and drop, but we added new features. So now the things you can be dragging and dropping are richer, denser, more customized. They could include a website in a little frame. They could include a document. Right? They're a lot more powerful than they used to be, and they're wonderfully intuitive. You've probably heard me talk about the Moore's Law curve that Appian means to follow, but just in case, and apologies to those who've heard it, I want to say it again. Appian's top objective is to cut in half the amount of time it takes to build an application every 2 years. Every 2 years, we're going to measure it. We're going to keep cutting in half how many human hours it takes you to build those applications. And so when we analyze, when we look at the time it takes to build an application in a Moore's Law frame of mind, our eye goes toward integrations. And you know why. If you've built applications, it's because the integrations can be some of the most time-consuming elements in the construction of a new app. And so we want to minimize that. That's the easiest place to collapse the amount of time that it's taking you to specify that app. So we've done a lot of work lately, both this year, last year, and the year before. We've had a major kind of push to minimize the amount of work it takes to do new integrations. So whether that's standards-based integrations like HTTP and OAuth and SOAP, right? Or new wave stuff like OpenAPI. We've really gotten into OpenAPI. That's our new favorite. Hundreds of organizations have an OpenAPI application, and you just sign up for that, and it makes the whole thing go on rails. It's fantastic. We've focused on that lately. It'll work if you swagger. It'll work too. And we also have built-in connectors to a lot of popular applications. So this, to us, is one of the best ways that we can reduce the time it takes you to make that next application. Okay, I've just talked about some ways that we're making things simple and living up to the low-code concept of simplicity. But I also want to just talk a little bit about what low-code actually is. So let me take one slide here to give you a kind of a theoretical diagram of what low-code is. I propose that this is essentially it. You've got low-code as the circle in the middle. That's whatever it is that we're writing for you. And on one side, you're putting in your intention. And on the other side, you're getting out an application. All right, so fundamentally, that's what low-code is about. You're not writing the application. You're just saying what it should do. And we make sure it does that. So that's fundamentally what a low-code platform would do for you. You input your intention, you output your application. So that, of course, requires simplicity, requires leverage. We got to be giving you that 20x or something like it in order to live up to the idea of being low-code, but that's not all. The point of showing you this diagram is to say there's hidden potential in the concept of low-code. It's not just about making it easy. If you go from intention to application, you've unlocked some serious potential. And different companies are looking at that potential in different ways. There's really two ways to look at it. One way is to take your intention and think of it in blocks of code, kind of string them together, one block after the other, and then give you that string of code, and then you can start editing it and modifying it in any way that you see fit. That would be one way. It'd be like an accelerated assembler of code blocks, right? You would assemble and then you would customize. This is not what we do. You know this. If you work with Appian, you know it. You never get to customize that code. You never get to go beneath the surface and twiddle with the code. The code is not available for messing with. In Appian, we focused on something else. There's another thing that could be done with the low-code concept. If we do not allow any editing of the code beneath the objects, then we can assume that all the objects are compliant. And if we can assume that all the objects work the way we thought they would work, then we can start layering on the power. We can start taking that application and being sure it does incredible things. We could just run it on every mobile device. Why don't we just guarantee it runs on every popular mobile device, right? If we know exactly what that application is going to do, right? If we had total control over it, we can guarantee it runs on your mobile device. We can guarantee it runs on your cloud, whichever cloud you like. We can give you hot failover, right? High availability. We can start driving the power, right? Because if we're already going to translate from your intention to an application, we just might as well make it a really powerful application. So that's the other thing that can be done with the low-code concept, is give you free power. If you were building your own application, you would build it probably so that it worked on one device and maybe one cloud or maybe on-premise, right? But you wouldn't build it for every device. You wouldn't build it for every cloud. You wouldn't build some of these excessive functionalities like lots of different security certifications or high availability. That would be too expensive. So the beauty of low code is if we're going to interpret your intention anyway, why not just layer on the power? So I'm going to call this second model of low code, which is what we do, I'm going to call it enterprise low code, because I think it's philosophically different from what others have chosen to do with low code. And now that I've got this term out there, I want to tell you what it means to us. It means this. Whatever application you just wrote, you can host it anywhere. You can run it anywhere. You could leave your data anywhere. This is all just going to be free power, right? Why not put it on different clouds? You pick which cloud. Bring it back on premise if you want. It's portable. We'll just be sure it runs there. And devices, any popular device it'll run, and natively, right? I don't just mean HTML, it'll run natively. So that's the kind of free power we could just layer on. Oh, you could leave the data wherever you want also, right? We could have extreme reliability, right? Appian's got 4 nines of reliability, and we've got an SLA that guarantees 99.95 as well with a 15-minute RTO. So a lot of work is going into being sure this isn't just a functional application, it's a industrial strength application. Security, right? I've looked across the industry. I think that Appian has the best suite of security endorsements, security badges that there is in this industry, right? Because if we're going to translate your application, why wouldn't we also make it fully secure? And of course, we've got data centers around the world, so if you want to put it on our cloud, you can put it in any one of these countries, because it's important sometimes to have the data in the application in your country, on your continent. All right. One of the great things about enterprise low-code is that an enterprise low-code application can get better after you're done writing it. I just want to say that again. It gets better after you're done writing it. This would never happen with the other approach to low-code. If you were just stringing together code blocks and then editing them, you would have an application quickly, but it would never get better. That would be it. It would be done. With enterprise low-code, we know your intention. We're translating it into an application, and when the future gives us a new device to run it on, why, we'll just translate it onto that one too. A new cloud, we'll just translate it. We'll just make it better. Here are ways we make it better after you're done writing it. We did this year. We doubled the process throughput. Right? Now it runs on twice as many separate like servers. We're just launching we're spawning new servers. So you've got twice the throughput. Right? Just turn it on. It'll do that. Oh, and if you used to run on your old application, if you used to run queries, right? Maybe you went out to several different data sources to fetch data, to fill a dashboard so that you could make an informed decision. Well, we wrote it so now that those are done in parallel instead of in serial. So your application just got up to 300% faster automatically. This is the great thing, just about layering on power. We could just keep making your application better forever, theoretically. We'll just keep coming out with things, and they will somehow apply to the application you wrote years ago. This is one of the things I really like about this concept. Oh, and we're getting into containerization. Docker, Kubernetes, you may not have had that in mind when you wrote your application, but it's becoming available now. Here's another good one. If you wrote an application a while ago, I'm pretty sure that every job you wrote was delegated to a human being. That was a safe assumption a few years back, but it's not anymore. These days, you might delegate a job to an artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithm. You might delegate a job to a robotic process automation bot. Right? In other words, our application layer, the Appian layer, is becoming an orchestration layer in some cases. And we're going to make it easy for you to do those delegations and just re-specify who the job is going to. Maybe you've brought in some RPA technology, and now instead of dropping this task to a person, you're just going to drop it to a bot. It's easy, actually. It's easy now. Right? We're going to change with the technology, and we're going to give that technology to your existing applications. We've worked hard to make AI easy. AI is one of the most complicated things out there. The talk-to-value ratio is dangerously high right now. A lot of people talking about it, not a lot of benefit. Our goal is to make it easy, right? Everything at Appian is supposed to be simple, including AI. So we've made it exceptionally easy to take an algorithm that you've got on any major platform, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, those are our major platforms, and use it like an object in the Appian environment. So that's Open API, by the way. So those are all connected services. Some things you don't need to connect for. Right? If you'd written a unique algorithm, an AI algorithm for your business, there's no way we could have written that for you. But some things are universal, like, say, detecting what a picture contains. Right? Is that a cat or a dog? Or how about this? Judging how happy a customer is based on the words they wrote you. That's pretty useful. So we just embedded it. Right? That is totally contained within Appian. You can use it as a call. It's pre-written and very useful. So now you can see how happy your customers are. Get a score from 1 to 100 to track their sentiment in real time or as fast as they can write you things anyway. We love RPA. We're compatible with a lot of RPA. We've made a particular partnership with Blue Prism. And this partnership is very popular amongst our customers because it is so ready to use. We built a compatibility between Appian and Blue Prism. In fact, we've given it a name. It's called Appian RPA with Blue Prism. And it is a bidirectional, synergistic exchange of complex data types. All right, so both sides can call each other and pass information, complicated information. And it's a pre-built demo application that you can use as a starting point. And it's got a dashboard, and I'm showing you the dashboard right now. And you can see how it's surveying the work and seeing how it's been allocated to a mixed workforce of humans and bots. So all this comes together, it's all free, and it's a great way to get going with RPA, especially if you want to choose Appian and Blue Prism. Okay, so I've gone through a bunch of slides now talking about what is enterprise low-code and what things you can do with it, just philosophically. What are the great things that emerge from the idea of enterprise low-code? What I haven't really done is explain why you'd need it. What are the current imperatives for why you would want enterprise low-code? And before I went on to the rest of the talk, I wanted to just specify two very good reasons why enterprise low-code is needed and now more than ever. One of them is technical debt. We recently did a survey. We commissioned a survey from a professional survey organization called IDG, and we asked, I think, more than 500 technical executives across both continents, North America, Europe, what was the, how much time was lost to technical debt, and they said about 40% of their cycles. An extraordinary burden is being carried today by IT organizations. Perhaps even 40%, right, is lost to technical debt. So it's a crushing burden. It's stifling us when we want to be innovative, when we want to do things. We're carrying 40% of our time as technical debt. And I offer you the possibility that there is no better way to dissolve technical debt than enterprise low code. And I have two reasons for that. First, that if you have an Appian application and it is automatically upgraded because it's running on the cloud, and it is getting better automatically as the years go by. It's getting faster, it's getting more parallelized, it's running on new devices, it's available on new clouds, it's evolving with you and keeping fresh with present technologies. That is like the opposite of technical debt. That is the exact opposite. Technical debt means you wrote something, it lives in the past, it's hurting you, it needs to be upgraded, you're wasting your time, it's not integrating well, it's not up to the latest security standards, you've got to patch it for safety, right? All that is technical debt. The opposite of technical debt would be that application floats in the present along with you, picking up the things that mark the present in the evolution of IT. That would be the opposite. So enterprise low code is the opposite of technical debt, and because it's enterprise, it also applies to nearly any application you would want it to do, because this is heavy duty stuff. It's scalable, it's secure, it's something you could count on, and therefore it applies to nearly any application that you might have in your enterprise. And so I think enterprise low code is like the antidote to what might be IT's biggest problem. So that's one reason why enterprise low code is needed now more than ever. And here's the other one. Again, derived from that survey that we just ran. In that survey, we also asked, what is technology for? What's digital transformation for? Why are you doing all this stuff? And they said, we're doing it for the customer. It's not like that's such a big surprise, really, but let's put that in historical context. You roll back 10 years ago, and the answer would have been, we're doing it to save money. Right? The industry used to be about saving money, used to be about efficiency, and now that was one of the choices. It came in last, right? It's cost reduction still matters. We still do it sometimes, but that is not why we're launching these applications anymore. Now the number one reason is customer experience, which fits right in with today's big trend, which is digital transformation, which essentially means using technology to improve the customer experience. So now, tech is for the customer. Unfortunately, in the past, tech was not only just for cost savings, it was slow, because slow was okay. Slow is okay if what you're trying to do is just shave pennies. But if you're trying to keep up with the customer, customers are fast. Customers need new things all the time. Customers have higher expectations. They leap forward. The metabolism of a customer is not the same as the metabolism of the release cycle in an IT organization. And so, we're going to have to increase that metabolism. If technology is for customers, then technology has to keep up with customers, and it's going to have to be fast. So this is the other reason why we need enterprise low code, because it's fast. Because low code gives you that 20x and allows you to keep up with the needs of the customer, which are fast and which change. For a long time, Appian was just a platform, exclusively and only a platform, and we made a big change this year by announcing a contact center, the intelligent contact center. And we did this for a couple of big reasons. The contact center market is one that we were deeply involved in already and successful, and we felt really good about the products and the success we were having there. And then it's also in fundamental, profound change. It's being changed at the top by expectations driven by digital transformation, where now we're expecting to greet each customer like a friend, right, instead of a stranger. We're supposed to know who they are. We're supposed to, again, use technology to improve the customer experience. Well, that starts at the call center. So the expectations are transforming for call centers, and at the same time, the means by which those expectations can be met is also transforming through the inclusion of artificial intelligence. So this is an industry transformed from above and below simultaneously, in which we were also already being quite successful. So we figured, now's our time. We're a bigger company. We went public in 2017. We have the wherewithal to build a product on our own platform, and we built this intelligent contact center. And so here's what it looks like. For the agent, for the person who picks up the phone when the customer calls, this is how it looks. We've got multi-channel communication, all right, which allows for texts and calls. And by the way, we're partnering here with established firms like Genesys and Twilio to supply functionality like that. We just embedded it inside the product, so we can work with whoever you're standardized on. We've got an intelligent chatbot, which is embedded artificial intelligence. We've got the AI making recommendations, and of course we've got the power of Appian Records, which brings together everything your organization knows in a second and displays that on a single screen so that you can greet that customer like a friend. That is exactly the point when we run this contact center, is so that you have that friendly initial, you could say, you know, did we resolve that issue you called up about 3 weeks ago, right? And did you get the functionality you ordered 2 months ago? You know, and welcome back. And you know, you really establish that that you understand this customer, you know what's important to them, and you've kept track of their life cycle with your firm. It's such a difference to treat them that way as opposed to asking them for the third time what's their phone number or what's their account number, something like that. This is a very personal experience by contrast. It's also transformed from the manager side. This is what a manager would see who manages those agents. They would see analytics across the top in real time. They'd be monitoring every one of their own agents, and they'd be seeing the results of the artificial intelligence process that's surveying the satisfaction of every one of those customers in real time, or as soon as the customer sends you anything in writing, so that you can see which customers are happy and which are not, and if necessary, jump in and read what the interaction is between the agent and the customers who are not happy. So this is taking the contact center concept to a new level. And there's one more thing that I want to tell you about how we can transform it. If you know contact centers, you know that the thing they generally miss is the thing that happens after and behind the call. The call, they're pretty good at, right? You take the call, you connect to the customer, maybe you don't have the data, but at least you connect to the customer and they're routed well. But what doesn't usually work is the case management afterwards. Every time a customer calls, that's a case. They wanted something to change. They want you, the agent, to take action. And that's usually where a call center falls short. However, in our case, that's our specialty. We are case management. In fact, according to this survey, we're #1 in the world at case management. So why wouldn't we get into the call center market, contact center market, and add the very thing that market was most missing? And that is, in addition to all the tsunami of changes going on, but the very thing that's most missing is that case management. What happens after and behind the call as a result of the call, automating and enabling that. All right. I have a new concept to announce right now. As far as I know, this is totally new. The Appian Guarantee. Appian is a low-code firm, and we know why you buy Appian, why you will or have bought Appian. It's because of the low-code concept. Because we said we could be 20 times as fast as regular code, because we promised to empower your organization and your developers to be more productive and to create and change applications faster. This is the fundamental promise of our technology, and we mean to instantiate it in this guarantee. The guarantee says that your first project will go live in 8 weeks, and it'll be done for 125,000 pounds. So euro. First project of any new customer, that is. Now, there are a few restrictions. It has to run in the cloud because cloud's a bit faster for building and has fewer exceptions. And it has to use Appian out of the box instead of writing any custom code, which we don't encourage anyway, and I hope you're not doing it. So there are a few guardrail limitations, and it has to be something that would reasonably fit in that time, but most things do, provided you use Appian the way it's meant to. Appian is a sports car. It's meant to get very quickly to your destination. If you're running it right, that's what you should be seeing. So this guarantee is our promise that you're going to get that, right? And we're launching it today. And we're not launching it alone, by the way. We've got support from our partners. The first partner to be on board to offer this alongside Appian is KPMG in both the United States and the United Kingdom. And we're on the cusp of being able to announce another, but I can't. And soon there may be others as well. We're all in this to help you, the customer, get your momentum started in order to realize the benefit that can be had from real low code. Right? The efficiency, the acceleration. We're not in this for one project. We want to be the platform that you use to transform your custom enterprise. And we'll only do that if we demonstrate the momentum right up front, and thus the guarantee. The guarantee, above all, is about approachability, accessibility. The benefits of Appian are not far away. They're only 8 weeks away. If you're a first-time buyer, they're only 8 weeks away. Appian is the most accessible of all of our competitors. There's no one who comes close, and we want to establish that beyond doubt. That's why the guarantee. I also want to remind you that any developer can become an Appian developer in 2 weeks. Appian training is not hard. It's in fact very fast, and it's just an empowering experience, right? We're just going to show someone how they can specify an application instead of write an application. So this is the Appian Guarantee. It's accessibility. The accessibility of expertise, the accessibility of a finished application. That's what this is about. Fast deployment, it's happening all the time. I want you to know that what we're proposing here is not unusual. It's in fact exactly the way it should be. The OCC, which is an options clearing organization, it's one of those organizations in the US that's too big to fail, and it's under intense oversight from the government. They built their first application in 6 weeks, right? And then their quote here says, now we're at the point we can build an application in a day. I didn't tell them to say that. They said that. You can build an application in 1 day on Appian if you get good at it. You just pull together the objects you've already built, you assemble it, and you go. That's the environment. That's our goal. That's what low code should be about. And that's the kind of the stake we're putting in the ground, the commitment we're making right now. DFW, one of the world's 5 largest airports, deployed 40 applications in the span of just 18 months. And by the way, that was their first 18 months. I don't mean the 18 months where they finally launched all the stuff they've been working on for years. I mean, starting on day 1 when they bought the product, they had 40 applications after 18 months. So this is the way I'd like Appian to be used. This is the kind of speed I'd like to see and the kind of transformation that we aspire to. This is what we're working for, what we want to give to you. So fast to deploy, that's one thing. And also fast to learn. The intention here is that the Appian system be something easy to grasp. It's 2 weeks. This is the class schedule, right? You need to be a developer. You need to be a technical person to do this. But if you're a technical person, 10 days is all you need. You learn the objects, you learn the design, you'll build the first project with most of the second week, and you will be an experienced and qualified Appian developer. Our intention is to make this easy. That previous slide, fast to deploy, and this current slide, fast to learn, are the essence of the Moore's Law curve that we are chasing. These are the things that we're committed to making easy in order to empower you. You may recall the A-Scores program. A-Scores are a score that we give to each Appian practitioner in order to convey to you, the customer, how skillful they are based on their history, their expertise, their test scores, their comments on our forum. We take lots of things into account. We give you a score from 1 to 100. That was just a little too complicated. As I learned after I launched it, it was my idea to do a scale from 1 to 100, and in retrospect, I don't think that a 100-point scale was a good expectation to set because it was confusing what exactly different scores meant. When someone had a 40, that was actually a pretty good score, but it was not clear to the customer that 40 was a good score. And so I need to remake this in a way that'll be absolutely intuitive to everybody because I believe strongly in an efficient market that is based upon transparent standards for each individual's qualifications. It should be really, really clear. So now I've got a truly clear system, and I'm unveiling it today. Appian A scores are now either a 1, a 2, or a 3. You get a 1 if you've taken a course and passed a test. You get a 2 if you've also done 12 months of successful project work and taken an exam. And number 3 requires not only 2 years of experience, but also an interview with an architect where we validate one-on-one that this person knows their business. We do this because we want you, the customer, who hires the resources, to know what you're getting, to know which partners have made the investment, which teams are skillful when they begin. I recommend to every customer, and I really hope you'll do this, that you check the A scores of the teams you're hiring and make sure you get a skillful squad when you start out a new project. There are partners here in this room and at this conference that have fantastic experience, and they've got great scores, they've got great histories. You'll see how good they are when you ask for their A scores. Here's how it works. A scores are free. You just give us the names, we tell you the scores. And not only do we tell you the score for each person, we also tell them the industries they've worked in, how long they've worked, right? What tests they've taken. You get to find out how participant they've been in our community. You get lots of other information. It's like ordering a second resume from us for nothing. And the reason we do that, and the reason I staff that and we invest in that, is because we believe that an efficient market of labor is going to help you select great teams. And you'll pick some of the partners that are with us today because they're the ones who've made the most commitment and who have the best resources and will come through reliably and deliver a winning project. So A scores, and that's the reason behind it. Another great program that needs more attention is Premier Support. First of all, okay, so Premier Support is a slightly enhanced annual payment in exchange for these added support features. One of them being you can call us absolutely anytime, 24/7 by 365. I agree that's redundant. 24/7 would have done it, and 24/365 would have done it, but we put all 3 in. So it really is round the clock and the calendar coverage. You can call it anytime. You'll also have a dedicated solution engineer, and I guarantee they won't be looking back to take a selfie. They'll be looking at their screen and talking to you when you have an issue because we're focused on you. And then also Premier Cloud Services. It gives you we got some special features on the cloud, like you'll be high availability is in there, and we'll allow you to query against the cloud database, which in the past was difficult. Now we built a special VPN so that you can do, say, Tableau queries against the cloud database. So we built some additional cloud features that we're going to be rolling out, we already are, to the Premier Support crowd. If you're interested in those cloud features, be sure to catch Malcolm's talk tomorrow when he's going to go through that. Now, the reason we do all this, right, from the low-code idea to all these features to the support, et cetera, the reason we do this is because we're about satisfaction for the customer, right? Our top goal and the reason why Appian exists and how we were able to grow and the reason we were able to do a successful IPO last year, it all comes down to this, is because we've been dedicated to making a successful outcome for you, for our customers. Proud of this quote. We appreciate Gartner saying that Appian customer references indicated a higher degree of satisfaction with their overall platform experience versus other vendors surveyed. It's not the only analyst who's written something like that. I've heard it from a lot of them. I've heard it in different reports. And the reason I read that is because you told them that. There's no way we could have said that to Gartner. You had to say that. So thank you. Thank you for saying that, and thank you for encouraging us to keep making that true, which we will. We like to celebrate your success. And so one way we've done it lately is to build a little model for each new application or many applications when they go live. So we're just having fun with this, right? We're doing Lego models because there's a bit of a metaphor there, right? Because building an Appian is a little bit like using repeatable bricks, assembling it like a Lego, and well, besides, I like Legos, so why not, right? And they're great because they show the business in a whimsical way at the same time as they celebrate a go live. So we are very pleased to celebrate your success with you by making some pleasant little models. Now, with that, I want to thank you very much for being part of this event and for being part of this community. It means a lot to all of us, and I look forward to seeing all the success that you create in the year ahead. Thank you very much.